Stand last word, work, we don't play. DMV heat coming straight your way. No visit to the 757, we ride. Rusty Byrd got the bullpen live on. The lead run DMC mic hot, game tight. Rusty B and the crew bring the real to the mic. From the field to the court, from the fate to the fun. We talk ball, talk life, yeah, all in one.
Hey, it's the last word with Rusty Byrd and the bullpen, and we are talking VHSL high school football. We are at the regional finals level, y'all. We're going to talk about some of the games we made predictions on for last week, and then we're going to preview some of the big games we see as big around the state. We've got a special guest this time in the pick segment. He is the head coach of my Bethel Bruins, as you can see in the back. Coach David Porter, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Coach Porter, you've been at the program now, 4 years?
It was season 4.
Season 4, got my boys into the playoffs. We got a first-round victory. And then a lot of guys you're very used to seeing. Of course, Jay Golson from the real Prince William County Sports, and the coach Christian Abrams from Mountain View. He knows a lot about 540 sports. Most of the time, I'll say this, between him and Jay, they're like 50-50 on getting stuff right. They're always homers, and they're always half right. I'll leave it at that. And then my dog and co-host, Jeremiah Davis, my little brother from back in the day, and he's a former Annandale Penn State football star, and he's coached a lot in the area, and he's the father of a Loudoun County dog. Welcome to the show, Jeremiah.
Yes, sir. You forgot, Jay is always right. Jay's always right.
That's his saying. He's always right. Even when he picks Battlefield to win.
Jeremy,
I just want to tell y'all, we'll go ahead and get into this.
Hey, it's not going to work. They took away our microphone.
Jay, you got to tell the story. About that, what Jeremiah just did, and the response we got from a certain coach.
Hey, Battlefield coaches thought it was funny about talking about the accusation, how it couldn't happen. So people thought it was funny, Jeremiah.
Yeah. I had several people say that episode was very entertaining, and that's what we're here to do. Coach Porter, like, part of the reason I do this show is just because I'm not a professional media guy. I mean, I have professional experience speaking and all that, but like the vision of this show is, if none of us were on this, if we were just sitting around at a game together, we would be saying and talking the same stuff, you know. So it's fine to be proud of where you're from, rep your team, whatever, be biased. And my goal is always to joke on Jay Golson, and that's very easy to see. I want to get started with Jay Golson, and I called this game, all right, for Prince William Sports Entertainment. We were, Jay, why don't you go ahead and tell folks how this game turned out? In case anybody didn't know, the panel last week was Matt Hatfield, Jay Golson, Coach Jeremiah, Coach Abrams, and myself. And it looks like everybody but Jay picked North Stafford. Jay, you're always right. Tell us about that game.
Well, I got there about 6:15 to watch both teams warm up. I saw North Stafford. I was like, that looks like Grambling out there. I was like, whoa, no comment on that comment, but they came to play. They were warming up, and for 45 minutes, the game started. First play of the game, 80-yard touchdown pass. First play of the game. That quarterback looked like Ronald Cunningham back there. They ran basically 4 plays the whole game. North Stafford, there were 4 plays. The running back, I don't know his name, but he went to the left, he went to the right. What's his name?
Alan Lester.
Yeah, Lester. He just dominated the running game. And that quarterback, man, he is so smooth.
Sullivan.
Yeah, Sullivan. He is so smooth. And I knew at halftime that it was going to be a long night. And it was a long night for Battlefield. And like I said, North Stafford, I'm impressed. First time seeing them play. It's going to be interesting.
And I'm going to tell you, during the game, this is Jay Golson's analysis. I don't think, that North Staff should be able to do some of this because Battlefield has Division I defensive backs.
Didn't matter. They had
Yeah, did
two DBs.
that North Staff got Division I
I was
backs?
about to say they had Division I backs over. I know.
Got a kid that's got offers from everywhere.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
And he's a junior, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the first play of the game, 80 yards.
I was like, Jay, you got to do your research beyond the Princeton borders.
That's all I'm here.
Go ahead. Coach Abrams works at North Stafford.
One more thing, Rusty. Let me add this. North Stafford fans travel well.
Yes. Yeah. They traveled well. There was a fan bus. This is insider information, I guess you could call it, as I do work in the school. There was a fan bus. It's been in that building. They believe they can win a state championship, and they have since the beginning. That's a good football team with a lot of guys all over the field. Shout out to Coach Marquez Hall, head coach at North Stafford. Shout out to defensive coordinator Alan Henshaw. Put together a great game plan for Battlefield. Completely shut them down. The only touchdown that was given up was thanks to a punt that went over the punter's head and set up Battlefield at the 1 yard line. That's what North Stafford has always done. I know that personally, as being a Mountain View guy, we've had to play North Stafford twice in the season. You see North Stafford the second time, completely different story. They shut you down. They pick up on whatever cues that you left from the first game and throughout the year. So it's going to be a great game. We'll get into that game later, but congrats to North Stafford.
And I picked up on this. North Stafford, they not only adjusted, but you could tell after the half, they had a whole nother set of game plan and plays. Yep. And I'm big on that. Jay knows when I'm calling, I'm like, what did you do? Did you not use in the first half? Because now, if you're going to try to stop it, you got to call timeouts, or you didn't have 15 minutes to adjust or think about it. That running back came out and he was just banging. And if you remember, Jay, when we called,
I called the plays. You're right. I do. Yeah, they couldn't stop.
But anyway, I'm big into making adjustments. I'm really big into that, and I was very impressed with what I saw. We'll get into this, but this is going to be a great game. Woodbridge at North Stafford.
One more thing. One bad thing about North Stafford I didn't like was too many penalties.
They'll do that.
Yeah.
They got to make up for it, I'm telling you.
Yeah. It's one thing I didn't like. Too many penalties.
But that was a good game. And, of course, Jay Golson was not right. All right, next, real quick. I watched the end of it because I was on my phone watching. Coach Abrams, can you tell us, and this was a crazy ending, Woodbridge versus First Colonial. And if I'm not mistaken, who did we have?
We had Woodbridge.
We had Matt said Colonial Forge, Jay Golson said Woodbridge, Jeremiah and Coach Abrams said Colonial Forge. Oh, and I said Woodbridge. Okay, now go.
All right, so this was another great game. Colonial Forge came out. They took a 14-0 lead. They got a strip sack to make it a 14-0 lead. It looked like it could be one of those games where Forge just kind of forced their will on a good Woodbridge team. But Woodbridge, props to Coach Longerbeam and those guys. They came back out firing in the passing game, especially. I mean, of course, as Jay Golson would say, Caleb Tucker, he found all his guys, and it didn't matter how many Forge jerseys were around at times. Those receivers just made all types of catches. I think a huge point in the game, I think it was 28-21. I think it was third down, and Woodbridge ran the football for a long, 60-yard touchdown, Marquise Sharp. And that was kind of it seemed like a backbreaker moment. It became 35-21 at that point, but then Forge, to their credit, they fought back. They scored a touchdown, made it 35. Scored 2 touchdowns, made it 35-34, went for two. Went for two. Didn't get it. I thought that the game was over then, but then they recover an onside
kick.
And then they get a couple downs and they throw a pass over the middle, I believe, to Darion Majid, and the Woodbridge DB does a great job breaking it up. And that was the end of the game on fourth down, 35-34. Just a great game. obviously to watch. Me going back, I kind of towards the end stopped watching that North Stafford game. I felt they had it in hand. So just kind of being on that Forge game, that was a great game to watch. But Woodbridge is a really good team. Forge is a really good team. Either one of those teams could have pulled that one out.
We can talk about when we get to that game. I don't understand why Woodbridge is traveling to Colonial Forge. I know they were the lower seed, but I'm saying at 9-1, I don't know how a 7-3 team was higher.
Well, Forge
was
also 9-1. Were they 9-1? Yeah, Forge
Woodbridge was 9-1, and North Stafford was 7-3. Now they beat them head to head, but that shouldn't have mattered in coming up with the points. I don't know.
Right. I guess it's just because those 3 losses were such good teams.
So,
Riverbend.
Yeah,
really
undefeated Riverbend, Battlefield 9-1,
and
Forge 9-1,
and Colonial Forge.
Just about
and then it just so happened that Woodbridge's loss was a 7-3 team, which
a 7-3 team.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But I want to hear from Coach Porter. Coach Porter, you played on Friday. We didn't make picks for this game. Can you tell us a little bit about your game against Kings Fork? And then did you get a chance to watch the Hampton Phoebus game?
So we played a tough Kings Fork team Friday night. We jumped out on them early. We was up 7-0. Of course, they do what good teams do. They come back and they get a score. We scored again, so there's a lot of counterpunching going on in the first half.
I was watching it while I was calling the game. I had y'all in my corner, yeah.
They got a turnover right before halftime. They have a kid, Joshua Pittman. He's committed to Pitt. He made a great play on a swing pass. He tipped it to himself, intercepted it. They ended up getting a field goal, so it was up 17-14 going into half. Again, another punches thrown. Beginning of the fourth quarter is 31-28. They were up.
Yep.
From there, we struggled to get off the field on third down. That's been the story of the season when we play really good teams. For whatever reason, personnel, scheme, whatever it is that we got to go in and fix. We struggled to get off the field on third down. They got a score. We got a drive that stalled out. They broke a long run, and that was the game. Good team. They do a great job over there. They're a big physical team. They do a good job coaching those guys up over there.
Now, this isn't one of the games we're going to cover. So if you just very quickly, I just want to get your opinion. I have a nephew that plays for Maury. They're, I think, 3-time defending state Class 5 champion. They play Maury next. Do you think, and we don't have that down here because I think most people would all just say Maury, but do you think Kings Fork has a chance in this game?
I mean, the old any given Sunday saying, yeah, based on that logic, yes. But again, they're a good team, but Maury just has a lot of firepower. It's unbelievable with the amount of talent that they have. And even the guys that come off of the bench who could go somewhere else, and be a starter. And I think eventually, it's probably a good game in the first half, and I think Maury probably walks away a little bit in the second half.
Oh, okay, all right, cool. Now that you say that, my nephew goes to Maury, and he's the JV quarterback. I think he threw about 20 touchdown passes in the JV, but if he used his grandma address, he could go to Bethel.
I don't turn down nothing but McCullough.
Don't start. Come on, man. Now, listen, that man just got off the field on Friday. I know this feeling right here. He just got off the field on Friday. You lucky to have him right there. I know. When you was introducing him, did you hear his demeanor? He said, "Yep, good to be here."
Yep. But look, I also know
Bethel Bruins. It's short.
You at Bethel right now, right?
Yep.
You don't know how to go home. You're not used to being home.
No, he don't know. No. That's not in the vocabulary right now. And then you're gonna talk the foolishness, and people watch this. Absolutely not. Listen, we do everything on the up and up. VHSL rules say you need to be enrolled in this, and we can talk about those things when he moves, and we do it correctly. Right on.
I will not be airing that part. I edit this show. So you do not. If this is a real consideration, that will not be. Nobody will hear that. My nephew is 6'2". He's a sophomore, and their starting quarterback is a sophomore, so he's gonna always have to back him up. He'll probably be starting at safety next year. Anyway, we'll talk. First, I really want to get into this Lake Braddock South County game. Jeremiah.
Yeah, Lake Braddock South County game. What we thought. Definitely what we thought would happen. You know, again, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later on. The rematches, right?
Yes.
We got involved. We got involved into a little skirmish that we didn't want to on Friday either. A team we beat 35-0, and then it was a 14-13 game. So you know, it's always one of those things where, you know, like you said, any given Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the game goes a little bit different. But you know, familiar opponents. Lake Braddock wins 33-24 over South County, and then they get now down to Battle of Byrd versus West Springfield, and so you know, we see where it goes from there. But again, it's you know, we'll get into it when we talk about these games coming forward, because it's a lot of familiarity, and we can see how it goes.
Yeah, very quickly, we put Brentsfield versus Kettle Run on this. We previewed it, but that's just because Jay wanted to have something to say because of Brentsfield being from our county, but they didn't really have a chance. I love y'all, Brentsfield, but Kettle Run, they took care of business like they were supposed to. Indian River defeated Cox, and from everything I had heard from Matt Hatfield and even Coach Super was that Indian River would probably be right here in the regional final. Coach, do you know anything about that game or that team?
Yeah, so in Indian River, they another program that roll kids in every year. They got a freshman quarterback who's amazing. If I'm not mistaken, he threw 5 touchdowns in that playoff game against Cox. He lit it up all year.
Okay.
And luckily, I get a little insight on certain schools and kids, because my son coaches the wide receivers at Hampton-Sydney. So I'm always with him. So I know a little bit about the Battlefield kids. We just talked about some of those earlier. But the Indian River game, they're loaded. It's going to be a really good game this weekend.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. Now, the other games we talked about, and then the big one I'm going to say for last discussion is going to be Hampton Phoebus, but Thomas Dale did upset Manchester. And does anybody want to just briefly discuss how that game ended?
Oh, first of all, I'll say it because I called it. I did say that Thomas Dale was going to win that. Shout out to them because they hadn't beat those guys in a long time, I think. And that's why
me, you, and Jeremiah, we said Thomas Dale. We called it.
Yeah, come on. We called a 99-yard interception walk-off return with multiple loafs from the other team.
That was part of my analysis.
Yeah, okay. Coach Porter, you know what I'm talking. Loafs from the other team. I'm looking at guys jogging like somebody else going to tackle them. This is in our huddle right now, posted from somebody's account. This is what we will not do.
Yeah.
Hey, man, what we will not do is jog while the guy runs to the midfield symbol and then runs back toward the sideline. Hey, I would have took their football and our team. We wouldn't have shook no hands. We just ran off the field. We just all ran off the field. We just gonna take their bus. We're gonna take their football. We'll send it back in the mail. Well, I would have ran off the field. That was the craziest thing I've seen in the state of Virginia in a while.
That's that waiting for somebody else to make the play.
Yes, that's exactly what that was. I couldn't believe it.
We had our game against Churchland. They picked the ball off at the end, and our running back ran him down about 60 yards later to prevent them from walking off and winning overtime with them.
Wow.
So yeah, that happens. That happens.
Yeah. Woodgrove Valley, you all will be playing the winner of that game, which is now based on what I saw. Everybody but Coach Abram picked Valley to win, and that's what happened.
That's exactly what happened. That was another rematch from probably about, I think it was 3 weeks ago. It was the second last game of the season. And so they played again. They share Purcellville borders. They're legit on either side of Route 7 going west. Very familiar. They split a youth league between the two. And Woodgrove switched their game plan. Woodgrove has a dynamic freshman quarterback that's, throwing and running all over the place. They went to a more ground and pound game. I guess hoping for a different result than their first meeting, and it didn't happen. Loudoun Valley came on top. They withstood those punches, and in the end, they were able to get it. Now, Loudoun Valley has a good running back, good running game that they got going, and then they caught them on a couple passes over the top and just broke the game open on them.
Okay, it was Hermitage, and they went out to a Patrick Henry team that had been crushing out there in part of the state, and handled their business.
I picked Hermitage in that one. All due respect to Patrick Henry. I said that we've seen Patrick Henry a couple times before, and what I mean by that is we've never lost to Patrick Henry in the playoffs. They've always seemed to have really good teams, but when it's time to see somebody outside of their area, it seems like it just doesn't match up. So Hermitage just seemed like would be that type of team to kind of go to your place, punch you in the mouth. That's why I picked them, and that seems like what happened out there.
That's a little different football. And we saw Hermitage this summer at the ODU 7-on-7. And as far as skill guys, I know they got the transfer running back who left Patrick Henry Ashland and went there, Avery Curtis. They're loaded. They're loaded at the skill. Yeah. And Aaron Brooks is the offensive coordinator there. I didn't find that out too. I was at the
Wow.
Yeah, we saw him there. They're loaded. They have a lot of speed. They have a receiver, DB kid that's has multiple offers. That's pretty good.
Okay. My friend I mentioned last week, Fred Gussler, who went to VCU with me, and he played football at Lafayette. But his son, I thought he was a freshman, but his son is a sophomore quarterback. He's the backup, but he came in at the end of the game and threw 2 touchdowns. So Turner may be the starter next year. I don't know the classification of the starter, but he came in and I'd mentioned him, and he actually came in and threw 2 touchdowns. So, but that does seem to be the story of Patrick Henry. And I told the story of how when we went and played there in '86 and '85, the year before, they got 10-0 in the regular season and then lost early in the playoffs. The year we beat them on that, they I think only lost 1 or 2 games in the regular season. So they have a hard time once they get out of that region. All right, so the last game I want to just review is the Hampton Phoebus game. Now, this is the only one everybody picked Hampton. I know I said Phoebus could win this game. I should have written that P, but I lived in the Hampton zone more than that. I never lived in the Phoebus zone. I lived in Hampton Bethel zone, so my heart just went to Hampton. But Coach, I will let you talk about this. You've played both of those teams this year, but the thing I mentioned is, come on, man, I don't care what happened in the regular season. This is an experienced team. Yeah. So go ahead, Coach.
So anytime. So first of all, I say this every time I have conversations with people. And I remember having this conversation with you. Coach Blunt is he doesn't get the recognition that he deserves. Like, he's one of the better coaches in the state. So a lot of times whenever you play Phoebus, if you're even athlete for athlete, if the coach is not even, the push is going to go to Phoebus.
Right.
He does a really good job, and they did a lot of things different this game as far as personnel and as far as play calling and scheme. Because that last game was 43-7, and it looked like 2 different teams. They were able to come down. They put 2 tight ends, and they ran the ball really well against Hampton. Tyreek Diggs, who's a running back at Phoebus, who I'm biased. He's the second best back in the district behind my guy. He ran for 240 plus yards. They ran the ball down here. They put those 2 tight ends down, and Hampton, they line them all up on the line of scrimmage. Once you get to that second level, you're off and running.
On 19 carries.
Yeah.
I know that off the top because I seen that stat come through. 19 carries for 240 something. That's explosive.
Yeah, he broke a lot of tough runs, and it wasn't like he was just, untouched. He was running through and running over people. And Diggs may go 5'7", maybe. But he ran like he was 6'3", 250 this past weekend.
That's the young man I saw. I was watching that game on my phone. I was at the. Is that the young man that had that run near the end the kind of long run in the second half. I wasn't the end, but kind of like, oh, yeah. Okay.
He's tough. He transferred there a couple years ago from Ward, and he kind of waited his turn. And this year, you know, in the backfield, he's the guy. He's kind of started off the season a little slow. I think Phoebus, when you graduate 31 seniors, you know, you're still trying to figure out some things once the season starts. And I think they kind of found their thing about mid-season, and they hit their stride at the right time. But like I said, anytime it comes down to a game where it's coaching, if the athletes is even, you know, if the coach is not up to par with Phoebus, you know, Blunt does a really good job over there.
Okay. All right. So they played Lafayette. That's not on our list of games, but Lafayette is actually the higher seed.
Right.
And they've won a state championship, you know, in the last 10 years. And they've been right there. Again, just real quick, your thoughts you know, on this. This isn't the game we're picking, but do you think Phoebus can win this game as well?
They beat Phoebus back during COVID in the playoffs.
Okay. Yes, they did. They sure did.
Yeah.
Yep.
But does Phoebus have a chance? Absolutely. Again, just, you know, Blunt does a good job of putting those guys in position. Now, I'm not going to slight Andy Lynn at Lafayette because he's one of the most underrated coaches also. He's a ball coach. So those guys will be ready, and it's going to be a really good game. And I think it could go either way, and I think it's going to be a one-score game either way.
Okay. All right. So I want to take this opportunity to go ahead on and just start making some of our picks. So we'll go from there to one of the games that we are going to preview, and that is Varina versus Huguenot. Now, the one thing about Class 4, and Coach Davis is coaching the team in Class 4, it's a lot of good teams. But, like, especially from that particular bracket, that region, they just knocking each other out. You know, Varina they beat Dinwiddie and beat them handily, like 34-0.
Yeah.
That shocked me, you know. So now Varina playing Huguenot. Coach Davis, anybody want to comment on that game?
Yeah, I mean, you got to realize in Richmond they had the top 4 teams in the rankings. Like that,
right.
So you knew they have to knock off each other. Like at some point, you know, it's just looking forward at it. They're gonna have to knock off each other, and it'll kind of balance out at the end, which is very unfortunate because that's where some of the best football is being played right now. I mean, you talking about dynamic back at Louisa.
And we talked about Louisa. Yeah, like
you know what I mean. Like, and they came there. But you're talking about schools that are 20 miles apart playing right now. 28 minutes each school. That's just like warm up at your school, show up at kickoff kind of deal. You know what I mean? I did that.
Jay, that means the bus isn't a factor.
Yeah, the bus ride is not a factor. The traffic might be, but not the bus ride. But you got two. I won't say contrasting styles, but the people are real familiar with each other there. I'll say that. There are some ties. There's a lot of ties between those two programs.
Yes, there are.
I will say this, and I'll say it publicly, and it's not. I'm not ashamed of it. You coach differently when your child is playing. You coach differently when your child is playing. You got a father and son coaching kid combo, and that's different. There's different conversations that happen at home. There's a different silent treatment that happens at home. There's a head nod. Rusty's seen it when we do it with my son. It's like,
yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's one of those. You know what I mean? When you bite your bottom lip and say, no, it's time. It's time to turn it on. And so they have that going on at Huguenot, but Varina has history. You know what I mean? They have some tradition. They have some legacies. You know, Michael Robinson has a son there. Michael Robinson is a legend. You know, Michael Robinson is called Michael Robinson Way, ain't it?
It sure is.
That's where you got to drive through to his little rec center that separates the school from the field, right? So you know, there's some history. Of course, Varina took care of business. They beat a Loudoun County team last year to advance to the state final. So you know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but it's going to be a show. I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
And you know, and they have a case. My man from Dinwiddie said it, said it before. They have a case to say the same thing where the state championship is being played, you know what I mean? Because some of the best football is being played. Shout out to them. Not the truth, but you know what I mean? Like they have a case for that.
Yeah. Yep. I went to cover and support my nephew. I was at the Maury versus Varina game, and Maury won, but Varina should have won that game. That they should have won that game. It was a close game. Both teams kind of, it's hard when two great teams are playing each other. You just think, they're just. But these are the teams that go beat other people by 90 points. So it's hard because you just see the mistakes, but they're making mistakes because their other team is causing them to make those mistakes. And so I was going, I guess the Varina team is good. No, that Varina team is good. They were just playing Maury. And so I haven't seen Huguenot, but clearly they're good. Clearly they're good if they beat Louisa, and so we'll go around and we'll make picks in a second. But did anybody else have any thoughts or comments on this?
Again, anytime you have a quarterback, you have a really good chance. And the Huguenot quarterback is really good. And he's been playing well since freshman year when he popped on the scene. Varina loaded. They got the big defensive lineman.
Yeah.
He's tough.
Yeah.
He's tough. I know the backfield before the season was going to be really special. I know they lost one, I think, to eligibility and one.
Eligibility.
They lost one injury, I want to say.
Yep.
But
that's what they when I was on their sideline and they were pointing out they got 3 dominant backs,
And they got the kid that transferred in from private school. So it's going to be a really good matchup, and I know Huguenot has a receiver that's really good.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting.
All right. So let's just go ahead on and just go around. Jay, do you want to make a pick? I know you're not as familiar with these teams, but you want to make a pick? Varina. Okay. All right, Coach Abrams.
Huguenot's a really good team. I mean, it is hard to say that this isn't the state championship before the state championship if you're looking from the outside in. But I'm gonna go with Varina. They seem like I'm gonna go Varina in a close one, but I'm gonna go Varina.
Coach Porter.
Man, it's a tough one. I saw the interview with the Huguenot quarterback, and he told them the losing won't start with them. And I like the confidence coming from the quarterback. I'm gonna go Huguenot.
Okay. JD.
I'm going Varina Blue Devils in this one.
Okay. Everything is telling me to go Varina, but
you going with the Bethel Bruin way right there.
Come on.
All right, son. If Coach Porter said I gotta support it. There you go. There you go. Next week we're gonna be up here like I told you. Or I'll be like, Coach Porter. I don't know what he's talking about.
And I just throw. I'm not an 804 guy, so I don't really know. I use that as
Okay. All right. Jay's just way past his bedtime, so we're gonna let Jay talk about something he knows. Jay, your thoughts and breakdown and predictions for Woodbridge and North Stafford. Even though I know the answer, because I know.
Let me say this: Woodbridge could play Maury right now and put up 50 points.
Jesus Christ!
You heard it right here. Yeah. 50 points against Maury.
I don't mean to use
now, let me get Lord's name here.
In vain. Forgive me, Deacon Byrd.
This is Penn State math here. Okay. North Stafford lost to Colonial Forge, right?
About 1 point.
Okay. And Woodbridge went to Colonial Forge, and what happened?
They won by 1 point.
They won by 1 point.
No, but they scored 35 points.
But they won
right? No, I'm saying they scored 35 points at Colonial Forge. They were down 14-0. North Stafford is a good team. Like I said, I saw them play Friday. I was impressed. But we have a quarterback like Caleb Tucker, a running back like Marquise Sharpie, who Virginia Tech pulled out of class last week. You have receivers in the Hill brothers. I mean, there's no way. It'll be to beat Woodbridge. You got to score 40 points to beat Woodbridge. You got to score 40 points. They won't happen from North Stafford. I'm sorry. I know they got a good quarterback. I'm saying Woodbridge is going to win. I'm going to say it'll be 41-30. Woodbridge at North Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
They'll come down there. They'll eat their food, kick their butts, and leave.
And take their women.
Yeah, take the woman.
Wow.
Yeah, take the woman. That's my thought.
I can promise you the good folks at North Stafford and on Garrisonville Road, they will see this video, Jay. It will be seen. I'm gonna go ahead, even with the Mountain View logo.
Yes, hold on, let me guess. Hold on, let me guess. Coach Abrams is gonna go. Let me see. You work in the building. You coached against them. They crushed y'all this year. You're gonna go North Stafford.
That's right. And I do want to say North Stafford. First of all, Jay, I do want to say North Stafford did put up 42 points in their first encounter.
In their first game, but they needed overtime to do it.
Oh, okay, yeah. But
1.5 quarters.
I'm gonna go ahead and say Chase Sullivan, and Kanal Sullivan, not related, by the way, just two really talented football players. Alon Lester, too much on the ground, and I'm gonna go ahead and in the end, it's gonna be that North Stafford defense that is going to make the stop when it counts the most. I'm gonna say North Stafford 35, Woodbridge 28.
Ooh.
All right, Coach Porter. I don't know if you know these teams, but
so I got a peek. I know the Sullivan kids, especially the defensive back, because Derek Fisher is ranked right up there with them in the state. So I kind of peek, and I'm gonna take some of Jay, and I'm gonna take some of Coach Abrams. I'm gonna go 41-40 North Stafford.
There we go.
oh,
That's a good one.
Somebody's gonna go for 2.
like that. Coach Davis.
I hope you put this episode out before so they hear you, and then we lost the regional championship going for 2 like that. We learned our lesson. I'll say this, right? It didn't dawn on me. I forgot about it that Coach Longerbeam is at Woodbridge, right? And so if you follow his history, I've known him. He first got the job at Mount Vernon. When he first moved to Virginia, he took the job at Mount Vernon. Then they offered T.C. Williams to him, and he split on Mount Vernon and went to T.C. Williams when he first got here, right? Trying to remember the Titans, bring it back, right? This guy's been coaching teams like a Woodbridge since his South Carolina days, right? Like this is his 8th stop, right?
He's been in Florida.
Yeah, he's been South Carolina. He's Florida for like 12 years or something like that. Came back up here to Virginia. His son, phenomenal football player, played at Rutgers. I think he's in the league now, ain't he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is not his first rodeo with clientele. He's got to a place where he can move and shake and maneuver kind of like he wants to, right? So this is like coaching legacy up here. People don't know. People just, assume who they get. He got the long little curls. And he show up looking like sunshine, and he putting these dudes out there and got them, right? Look, Coach Abrams over there, John, like, so what he saying? I'm telling you, right? I've walked the halls at North Stafford. I know about the Warriors. You walk in that gym side, it's got a little ramp right there. You got to walk up. You go into the gym to the right, cafeteria area to the left. I know about it. Yeah. I think Jay Davis knows it's my schools. I know about it, right? And I was surprised that my daughters played a basketball scrimmage there a couple years ago, and I'm looking in these hallways, and I'm looking for some non-melanated, and I didn't find it. I said, what's going on over here? I said, who are we working with here? They got a tremendous amount of pride. The Wolverines do. It's a strong community that's there that is very supportive and welcoming, but very competitive. Yeah. And similar to Woodbridge, but more of a 757 feel at North Stafford. I'm just telling you, if you go to a basketball game, you'll see it. It's a group of people that's there I'm talking to the counselors that's working at the basketball game that coach this, and it's that type of feel. I say all this to say that Woodbridge gonna win this game. Woodbridge gonna win this game in a similar fashion that we've seen before, a turnover, block kick, something like that. But it's going to take, I think it's just going to be family on talent or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be one of those deals. But I'm going on on a special teams play to win the game for Woodbridge.
Let me add one more thing, though.
Oh, okay.
One more thing, man. Caleb Tucker, as a freshman and sophomore at Freedom, went at Freedom defense in practice for 2 years with T.J. Bush, Cam Portney, E.J. Reed, Jeff Overton on defense. Every day for 2 years for practice against Freedom. So North Stafford?
Hey, Jay, one more thing. Why do you point into the thing like this when you
One more. To Coach Abrams. He faced Freedom's defense for 2 years, okay, in practice, 5 days a week. So North Stafford, no.
Okay, so wait a minute. So we got Jay Woodbridge. We know Coach Abrams. Coach Porter, North Stafford. Jeremiah, you said
Woodbridge.
Woodbridge. Okay. Yeah. Now,
who you got?
I got a lot of things, a lot of reasons, a lot of great analysis. Y'all know I know the game. People want to hear my opinions. I'm gonna break this down. My wife worked at Woodbridge for 14 years. She was the counselor of Deshaun Hand and a lot of great athletes that have come through there. But most importantly, they are just like the Spartans of Norfolk State and of Bethel High School. You have to behold the green and gold. Let's go, Vikings. Yes.
Can't wait till next week.
Very simple math, y'all. Very simple math. My wife, I live in that neighborhood.
And they got the same colors as your high school.
And they got the same colors as my high school.
1 + 1 = 11. Got it.
Exactly.
And Christian making sure he's safe driving home, just like I said last week.
I got to go to work tomorrow. I can't.
Right. Straight up, though. I was at that first game, and it was the greatest high school football game I saw this year. I left that game going, I think I saw the 2 best quarterbacks in the state. Caleb Tucker is an amazing quarterback. He is one of class, regardless, doesn't matter. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the state. The kid's got skills. And I think it's hard to beat somebody twice. I'll just say that. It's hard to beat somebody twice.
It was a bad snap. It was a bad snap.
Before we move on, I'm gonna ask a Rusty Byrd question. Do you think either of these teams had the capability of winning a state championship, Division 6?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now this is the funny part. I feel like North Stafford would do better winning state than I do Woodbridge.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, cool. Everybody kind of agree, and that's how we kind of do. We always say, "Hey, do you think these teams can win?" Let's move on. Big game, Lake Braddock, West Springfield. Covered this game the last 2 years. It was the regional final. Well, it wasn't the final last year, but 2 years ago it was. Coach Davis.
Yeah. So you talking about again? This is down the street. These are, legit down the street. You go out of the entrance, make a right, make a left, keep straight down. You at the other school. Very familiar with each other. Coaches are very familiar with each other. I keep bringing up Coach Parker at West Springfield. Again, these soft place in my heart. Coach Porter can touch on it too. When you had to coach out of necessity, when you coached a 1-9, a 2-8, you start to get real creative. Fullbacks become guards. A kid that is terrible at defensive tackle somehow can play defensive end. The punter all of a sudden became a receiver, or the backup quarterback you knew he could throw, you put in a fake and blah, blah. That's what I'm talking about with Coach Parker. Coach Parker was at Falls Church High School and had to be very creative, had to be very resourceful for a number of years and put them in
Was Coach when they did really well?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
He preceded Set Aziz over there.
Right.
He preceded Set Aziz.
Yes. He spoke at that, remember that football conference, coaches conference that you spoke at? Yes. He was on I was there. Yes.
Absolutely. Yep. So, he's cut his teeth at all of his stops and he's moved forward. That, you know what I'm saying? Trials and tribulations build character and bring success. I'm going with West Springfield in this one.
Wow.
They're the higher seed. They beat them during the year.
Yeah. But they beat them Last play overtime.
This is the same team that went and took pictures in front of your school like this. Like this, right? In front of your school, and then came and smacked you in the, come on now. There's a certain type of confidence that comes with that. I don't expect it in their run to end right here. I don't know if either of these teams can win the state championship, considering the level of talent, but I like West Springfield, the Spartans.
Coach Davis, if I'm not mistaken, 2 weeks ago, didn't you give us a whole thesis on why Lake Braddock was the best team in Northern Virginia?
I did not, and we can run that episode back. I talked to them about their quarterback going to Norfolk State. Behold, the green and gold.
The green and gold.
Norfolk State, there is no Jeremiah Davis. My parents met there. They did.
Yep.
I talked about you know their heritage. Again, they got a lot of little brothers of great football players that's on the team, that's getting after right now. But I did not hail them as the almighties.
That's fine. Coach Porter, I know you may not know these teams, but
West Springfield. I recruited there when I was at Misericordia for that year, and they have. I kind of always peeked in. They've done a good job there over the years with that program. So I'm gonna go West Springfield.
Jay.
When I was in the 6th grade, West Springfield was 6-4. Went to the state championship and lost to Hampton 17-8. Y'all remember that? 1980?
No, I thought you was talking about 1970. No, I'm just joking.
No, 1980. They went 6-4. They got really strong, won a streak. Now, Lake Braddock has tradition. And I can't see Lake Braddock losing this game. So I'm going with Lake Braddock.
Okay. Coach A.
Respect to West Springfield and to the younger Coach Parker as well, who was a North Stafford High School alum.
Absolutely.
West Springfield cut their teeth in the preseason by playing scrimmaging two tough Stafford teams in Colonial Forge and North Stafford. So I'm gonna say that all pays off at the end of the day, and I'm gonna go ahead and go West Springfield in this.
Okay.
Shout out Darnell Parker.
Yep.
Oh, well, I'm gonna do some of my complicated math once again.
And my wife, let me start off. My wife is a Lake Braddock Bruin, just like a Bethel Bruin, which equals 1 and 1 equals 11. Because Coach Porter talked to me about that. So when you get 2 1s together, it gives you one more than 10. It equals 11. So he going Lake Braddock because Burke, Virginia, where he got married and then went to church. Right there in Burke.
That's all the math. That's my dog right there. That is exactly.
We've been doing this too long, right?
Playing track team to 5 state championships when you go indoor, outdoor, whatever in a row. Got out the most points in the state championship. Led her team there is a great athlete there. But for real, Lake Braddock, I know the one thing they don't have is that home field advantage they've had the last 2 years, and their home crowd is crazy. But they do travel. But I think Lake Braddock, again, I think it's hard to beat somebody twice. Over the previous few years, West Springfield has beaten Lake Braddock sometimes in the regular season. I'm going to go with Lake Braddock because I think they're going to be very determined to get the W, and it's the first time I was seeing them have a brother at quarterback. I'm just saying, I don't know. Maybe there was something that Jerry, you played against them, you coached against them. So big credit.
We've been in that district, or I played in that district. This is
Wow. I'm gonna tell you, when you told me when we did this show a couple of weeks ago, and you said they had a quarterback going to Norfolk State, I said, okay, because I know sometimes like punters and baseball players, they go to Norfolk State. I was like, assumed he may not have been a brother, but I saw
he's melanated and a big sucker too.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Okay. Right. No, you know me. I'm going Lake Braddock, son. All right. Let's touch on LCA versus Heritage. LCA, that's Liberty Christian Academy out in Lynchburg. They're the 2-time or 3-time defending state champion in class. They I won't say struggle, but they've taken some L's this year. Your picks, guys.
I'm gonna go with LCA.
I'll go Heritage in this one.
I'm gonna go
I feel
Heritage.
like kind of close. I feel like they're a real good team. I know LCA is obviously defending 3-point state champions, but I'll go Heritage in a real close one.
Okay. Coach Porter?
Coach Braddock does a good job out there. I'm gonna go Heritage.
Yeah. Yeah, this Heritage team is really good. They're the number 1 seed. Now, Liberty Christian was the number 6 seed, but that's because they took a couple of L's. But we know they have talent. They can legally recruit. All right. It's a private school. But if I'm not mistaken, these teams, let me see, Heritage is 11-1 this year. And if I'm not mistaken, they beat Liberty Christian.
Heritage did. Heritage did.
I'm saying, yeah, Heritage beat Liberty Christian. Yeah. Their only loss was to Bridgeport. That must be a team out of state because it was their first game. Yeah, so we know that Heritage can beat Liberty Christian. So I'm not going with my theory. It's hard to beat somebody twice. I'm going. I think Heritage, they must be balling if they can beat Liberty Christian.
Yeah, Heritage got this one. Okay. They got the number.
Coach Porter, can you tell us a little bit about Indian River versus Green Run? Every year, Green Run, I pick them, and they usually win this game, but then the way the brackets used to always be set up, they don't have that this year. They don't have that this year. But can you tell us about this game?
Yeah, so Indian River, again, man, well coached. Coach Carr does a good job out there. Defense coordinator Anthony Smith, he does a good job. Got talent, like I said, the freshman quarterback, he's been on fire this year. Green Run is loaded. They always have a basket of receivers. It's almost like every wide receiver in Virginia Beach.
I know.
Just go.
Let me go to Virginia Tech.
Yeah, it's just that too. I know they got transfer quarterback this year, a kid from Kellum, Luke Ashcroft. He's had a good year. They have a running back who is, I want to say he's 3rd or 4th in the region in rushing yards. It's gonna be a good game. I gotta go with Green Run.
Okay.
Gotta go with Green Run.
All right.
Green Run. And those are my guys over there at Indian River. And I know Coach Williams at Green Run and Coach Whitehead, who's the defense coordinator. He played at Norfolk State.
Okay.
It's gonna be they're tough out every year. They do a really good job of getting those guys developed and ready to play. Because a lot of those receivers, I saw a couple of those receivers just picked up offers this past week. I want to say from may have been Virginia or Virginia Tech, I think. They just picked up offers this weekend. That is a good group. I'm gonna go Green Run. That hurt
Coach
me.
Davis.
Green Run.
Okay. P-Town.
I told you it's hard to go against neighbor in Chesapeake. You know what I mean? And they cut their teeth when it gets cold, when it gets later in the year, running the ball, getting downhill on you. I'm going Indian River.
Okay. Jay Golson.
Yeah, I'm going with Green Run.
All right. Coach A.
Bill Green Run's been knocking on that door for the longest time. And like they feel like the door is right there for them to get to that state championship at the very least. With the way that the brackets are cut out this year, I'm gonna go ahead and go Green Run on this one.
At this time, that experience of I've been there before.
Mm-hmm.
Indian River was there 2 years ago. They played. It kicks in. Mm-hmm. That kicks in. That I've been here before. This is not too big of a moment for me. That kicks in at some point.
You know, for me, I would think Green Run would be extra. Not that they should be looking past Indian River, because again, Coach Super said this 2 weeks ago. He said that Indian River team, he would not be surprised if they won the region.
They're good. Would not be shocked.
I think Green Run has to be motivated knowing they do not have to face Maury. until the championship, if they even get that far, because Class 5 is loaded,
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna go green run as well. So Jeremiah, you're the only one that went Indian River.
Absolutely, and I'll accept my flowers next week.
Yeah, and I'll give them to you. I'll give them to you.
Yeah. It wouldn't be that. It would not be a shocker. Now I'll say that it wouldn't be a shocker.
No.
Let the quarterback. That kid is on fire. He's played extremely well this season to be a freshman. Like he'll have that errant throw every now and then where it's, okay, yep, he's a freshman, but he's played extremely well.
The winner of this game gets to play the winner of our next game, Hermitage versus Highland Springs. And we just talked about this Hermitage team beat Patrick Henry, and Highland Springs is just Highland Springs, dog. Like Highland Springs, which a lot of times was thrown in the side of Maury. Maury doesn't have to worry about that. Again, Maury is going to be on the other side of the bracket, but Hermitage, Highland Springs, and those are teams both in the 804. So they're not in the same neighborhood, but they're in the same area. And so knowing Coach Lauren, I just would put my trust and faith in Highland Springs. So I'm going to say Highland Springs.
And so Highland Springs play against Phoebus this year. They're a Lauren Johnson team. They're well coached. Coach Simmons, the defense coordinator, does a good job of getting those guys ready to play. At the same time, again, Hermitage has a lot of athletes. That running back they got in, he's really good. They did now at the same time, Highland Springs did a really good job of stopping the run against Phoebus. Mr. Diggs didn't have quite the game that he had against Hampton that game. Again, they did make some changes from that point moving forward, but they didn't. I'm like you. I can't go against Lauren. Can't go against Coach Johnson. I'm gonna go Highland Springs.
Yeah, I agree with what was just said. I feel like this is one of those games. I mean, I know that Highland Springs doesn't flash out like they normally do this year, as they might do in those years where they go 15-0 and they're rolling through everybody. But I feel they're well coached. I feel they just dominated William Fleming 37-7 last week. I think that they'll be ready for Hermitage. Last time that they played Hermitage gave them a little scare, 31-28 win early. So I think they'll be more prepared this time around, and I'll trust Lauren Johnson on that one too. On this one too, go Highland Springs.
Well, I go back again. We've been around. I know him from Stonewall Jackson High School, Manassas, Virginia. Lauren Johnson, right? And he had backs then, and as that school has always had guys. Like, I mean, they've had some dudes over their time. I mean, I love to see Hermitage get back in it. The Herm. I love the New York Giants looking uniform. I do. I think it's good for an area when success gets spread out, like as it is in Richmond. Like, it's not one school. You don't got to transfer right now. You could make, you know what I'm saying, to show where you are. That being said, shout out to the Springers and to the Black Scottishmen. You know what I mean? To the black guy in the kilt on the side of the helmet. You know what I mean? But we're going Highland Springs with that one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. All right. Coach A, did you go yet?
No. Jay Golston didn't call it.
Oh, Jay. Okay.
He's always right.
Definitely Highland Springs.
Okay. So y'all know what this means. We all went Highland Springs, so Hermitage won't win.
All right. So Riverbend's probably, from the beginning of the year, been one of the most underrated, untalked about teams out there. And all they did was run through everybody, go 10-0 and one of the hardest. They won the Commonwealth District that contains North Stafford and Colonial Forge. They run a very physical style of offense. They're going to come at you literally like 3 tight ends. They're going to line the football up, and they have speed on the perimeter to go over the top when you fall asleep. They have an all-district running back, Adrian Pico, their quarterback, Ian Shook, who transferred from Massachusetts, He was running the triple option for a couple years over there, and then he came over to Riverbend, and then they told him to do kind of the same thing but more simple, just read options and hand the football off and get yards. I mean, it's worked all year long. They shorten games out, but they also score, and their defense is also probably the most underrated part of their team. Obviously, they have a real test in Stonebridge, and Jeremiah will probably say a little bit more about all the D1 guys they got on that defensive side of the football. But I feel Riverbend also is not going to come into this game intimidated by the name Stonebridge, because I know Stonebridge was in a down year last year, but when Stonebridge came to their house last year, Riverbend did handle business and beat them last year. I feel Riverbend is underrated in terms of one of those teams that has been knocking on the door and they kind of haven't got there. So I'm gonna go Riverbend in a real close game on the road against Stonebridge.
It's funny that he brought all those points into it, is because, you know, as you think about, they played them last year. They got waxed actually when they went down there last year. Stonebridge did. When they went down there last year, Coach Golston is coaching his boys. Both of his sons are playing on that team. They got a DB Pridgeon that's playing on that team. They got another DB going to Syracuse. UConn, they're all over the place. I mean, his son going to Tennessee, like they got guys on defense, right? The knock has been on their offense. They didn't have to do much. You hand the ball off, you run it, you get an eye, you kind of just pound it, go forward, and then let your defense, kind of handle the business. And locally, and this was I'll say this with the team. We at Loudoun County High School that we're at now, you don't want to just be Loudoun County good, because that was the knock on Stonebridge for so long. They didn't go out of their area of scrimmage. They went down south, got smacked by Phoebus. They get beat in the championship game because they were good in Northern Virginia. The other part is they got somebody that does what they do just a little bit better, which is run the ball offensively. And if you can have a great defensive backfield that makes adjustments. The other thing, coaching-wise, is they're not just coverage guys, but they make your adjustments on the back and make your run fits work. So when you got 2'6" defensive backs that could come up and fill, now you got extra hats. Your free hitters are real hitters, and they're filling the gap. Coaching point right there. I say all that to say I don't know if they go to Riverbend and take care of business. I think Riverbend has the edge in this one. It could go the other way.
Stonebridge is the home team,
right? Excuse me.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
But right, I think Riverbend wins this game because of their style of offense. Right, for a number of years. That's what Stonebridge did. They packed it in. You ran double wing. They kind of spin you around. Then they go 5 wide, throw the ball. Well, now they gotta play against that. That's tough to prepare against. That's tough. Even though it's a longer week, we get an extra day for a Saturday. It's tough to prepare against. And you can only erase with so many things. And so I like Riverbend in this one.
Okay. Jay?
The question is, can Riverbend handle a hostile environment? It's hard to play at Stonebridge. I've seen Freedom played there 3 years ago, a good Freedom team. And that crowd was just loud the whole game at Stonebridge. Playoff football, long bus ride from Fredericksburg to Loudoun County. I'm going with Stonebridge.
Yeah. Okay. Coach, I'm going to say my piece and then I'll let you go, because you really know these teams. I haven't seen them. I've seen both of these teams over the years. But I'm going to just say this. The fact that it's at Stonebridge, y'all, I'm not saying nobody's cheating, but Stafford teams have had any team.
Lord White.
In this game, the regional championship, I'm going back to Highland Springs. It was
controversial. But Highland Springs showed up, and then they didn't get that call in the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm just saying, I was at that game when Highland Springs, then Mountain View was really good a few years ago, and they were in Class 5, and they went to Stonebridge, and then I was there when, golly, who was another team? I can't remember. I've been there
a few years before that. They didn't get the job done. Yep. No, you're right. It is a rough history, but really we have a rough history with Loudoun County, period. Briar Woods came down here last year and beat that Riverbend team and beat them. Okay, and I did not expect that at all because they did it 2 years in a row. So overall, yes, I will say that we've had kind of a rough shot, but I will say this Riverbend team and their identity is different than all those teams that you're saying. Even the team that Mountain View team that I coached on, like we were spread it out, get the ball out, pass the football. None of those teams were about.
You were on that staff?
Yes, yeah, yep. And none of those teams that we were talking about in the past have been about, hey, we're going to run the football directly at you as much as this Riverbend team is. Like they're pretty consistent all game.
Okay. So we got 3 Riverbends and Jay and I went Stonebridge. All right, last game on our docket. Coach Davis, Madison Westfield. Now I will tell you background for you all. Coach Davis was an assistant at Westfield for a number of years and worked in that building and knows the coaches, knows a lot of the athletes. Do your middle school kids go to Westfield?
Absolutely. 100% of our kids going to Westfield High School, where my wife is an assistant principal. Go Bulldogs.
All right. So I just want to set that stage. And then I have a little experience. I called the Madison Oakton game this year for the network, the National Federation of High School Sports. I called for them. And I was very impressed with this Madison team. And this is when you go Concord District, you got to throw the records out the window. But go ahead, Coach Davis.
So, I won't say it's a storied history between these two programs because about 2017, Madison started to come along. Before that, they weren't the guy. Oakton had the kids. It was on that side of Oakton. Now that you cross the street to Madison, and now it's kind of shifted where the youth league kids are aligned and where they're going right now. And Coach Counts does a good job along with his group. Really, COVID changed it for them. They had strong ties to the community. They kind of cultured that program during the winter season. They kind of took over as the big dog, and then it kind of took over from Madison from that point. But it was this same weekend that as a coach, I guess that was 2019. It was a rainy Saturday because Freedom chose to play later in the night, and they played Woodson High School. It was beautiful at night. But that 1 o'clock during the day, it was about 40 degrees and raining.
Yep.
And the story was that Madison just really wanted to play right then. I think that's just, both 80s didn't agree. We had choose to play at that earlier time. Didn't work out in their favor. Westfield won that game. And I bring that game up because this is going to be reminiscent of that game. I don't know what the weather will play into that, but it was a knockdown, drag-out battle. We ended up putting out the quarterback in the first, and they had 2 quarterbacks. The first string guy went out, second guy had to come in, and we kind of went back and forth and dominated in the end in that game. But I think that's what's going to happen again. It was a tight game when the 2 played before, and it's good. It's we didn't talk about it in the past, but very few games that are being played in the regional final haven't already been played. I think it's of the ones we mentioned, maybe 2 haven't played each other, right? And most of the people have already played each other before, right? And so there goes a lot into that.
Game, we won't even get into it, but your game against Valley.
Right, you're right. We played each other before mid-season in a huge game that was a big game out here in Loudoun. But I go back to this Westfield team that's still trying to find their identity offensively. They have a very explosive receiver that has that's able to make the plays. Malachi Lee, I believe his name is.
Yes.
And so you guys just familiar. Malachi Lee is the younger brother of Dejan Lee, like running back from Lake Braddock High School. Like that's his little brother, and he has another brother, Matthias. They also play basketball there. But okay. And then at the same time, you got Madison, who's going to do what they do. They get in I-backs, they're going to block down, they're going to kick out, they're going to run forward. They're going to play man defense, and they're going to be aggressive on the ball. And they give up something, and they're okay with that because they know who they are and they know their identity. I say all that to give you the background on it, that it's Go Bulldogs, right? It is Go Bulldogs. And I say this because in this type of of environment. It's going to come down to key plays and the special teams battle. I think Westfield High School, again, that's just background knowledge. I think they have blocked 9 kicks this year, and I think they've scored 7 defensive touchdowns. Okay, like, so when you're coaching at that level, right, and doing those kind of things, that's when you got to not make a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Like, one mistake turns into 7. That's the game. That's the 1 point that you need. So go Bulldogs.
All right. So he's got Westfield. Jay Golson.
Actually, Jeremiah, it was actually 2018 with that Madison, Westfield, and the Freedom Woodson game. And actually, Freedom won at 2. We won a 2:00 game. But Woodson won at Westfield, so we had a 7 p.m. start that game for the state semifinals. But anyways, back to this game.
Yeah, we won't talk about that next week when it was real disrespectful after our guy went out and came and stomped on him. It's cool.
All right. Hey, Jerry, remember in 2017
when we were standing on the Woodbridge sideline?
Yeah, we were on the Woodbridge sideline. You were the head coach at Herndon at that point.
This game here, Madison at Westfield. I mean, Westfield, I saw them play against Patriot the first game of the year, and they got some speed. Madison, they're very well coached. You know, they won't be scared getting off the bus. I'm going to go with Westfield.
Okay. Coach Porter?
It's kind of passionate speeches. And I don't know a lot about those two. But y'all sound way more knowledgeable. So I'm going to go Westfield.
All right. Coach A.
I'm going to go Westfield. I feel like these teams are real evenly matched in terms of coaching, but I feel like Westfield, they just have a couple more guys that'll make the big plays when it counts. So give me the Bulldogs in the close.
Now let me make this one. Now to get to this game, Madison beat Centerville and Centerville beat Westfield. I was at that game. They beat them on a last-second touchdown, probably a 40-yard touchdown pass to the back of the end zone. Madison beats them in a man. If y'all didn't watch that, go on NFHS or find some highlights because how that went down with a team up 28-21 with 1:05 left to go to overtime again. You know, crazy, right? But they won that very emotional game. How does that emotion? Does it carry over? Mm-hmm. Or was your championship the week before? You know what I mean?
Right. And going into the game, Madison was 4-4. Well, if you looked at their schedule, this is who they had lost to. They lost 7-0 to Stonebridge.
Stonebridge, yeah.
At that point, we were just thinking, oh, that was a Stonebridge from last year. Okay. But they held this great Stonebridge team, in retrospect, who could win Class 5 at 7 points. They lost to Lake Braddock by 3. They put up 31 on Lake, but Lake Braddock, we think they could win the state championship, but another team in a regional final. They lost to Westfield by 1 point. 1 point, okay? This is who they're playing again. And then they lost to Centerville by 3. But they avenged that loss. And Centerville won with the regular season champion of the Concord, right?
Yep.
And so as much as like I love for Westfield, my little sisters on the administrator there, Jeremiah was defensive coordinator, and everybody else picked Westfield. That Madison running back, number 8, I forget his name, but that dude, he looks like Derrick Henry running. He's about 6'2", about 230, and he just is hard to bring down. I know they've played each other already, and they would clearly Westfield could prepare for him. But if that dude gets rolling, they have a really good chance of winning this game. So I want to say I want to be wrong. I want to be right, but I think Madison can take this, and I'm going to be a little different than everybody else. And I think Madison wins this in a very close one. Sorry, Jeff. I hope I'm wrong.
I'm gonna get my letter jacket from next week. Hey, how about this? I just hope that when we do the next broadcast, we still practice it. So that's
no doubt. All right, look, guys, thank you so much. This was a great episode. I think we gave the people some great content here. It was called The Last Word. And the reason I say that is because anybody can give their first take. Anybody can get a first take. But I want to know, what's your last word? So we'll start off with Jay before he falls asleep. Jay Golson, always kicking knowledge. Jay, what's your last word?
Pricing on Thanksgiving Day, then you're special. That's it.
You're right. Good one. Coach A, who's not practicing for the first time in a long time?
Second time in a long time. But yeah, it's been a rough 2 years. But I want to give a shout out real fast, kind of go the rusty route, talk about my family. Shout out to my brother-in-law who played for the Potomac Falls Panthers. They had one of their best seasons in a long time come to an end. I did catch them a little bit. They played Riverbend. That's how we do it up here. But respect to Riverbend, to Potomac Falls, on a great year. Best time in a long time. They went 6-4, won a playoff game. So hopefully a bright future for the Panthers up there.
Coach Porter, any parting shot?
I'm gonna shout out my team, man. I'm proud of those guys for the things they did this year.
Absolutely.
You being a former, you're a Bruin. You still a Bruin. Amari Pryor, running back, he committed to Hampton University. He ran for 2,035 yards this year, 41 touchdowns.
Wow.
Quarterback Alex Lewis, he threw for 2,200 yards. We had a receiver to go over 1,000 yards. My junior safety, Derek Fisher, committed to UVA. So we have about 6 or 7 seniors who will go off and play college ball, and I'm proud of that because of the academic piece. We had 41 kids on the team, 37 of them were over 3.0.
Wow.
So I'm gonna shout out my team. I'm proud of those guys and the work they did this year to get over that, winning the first round in the playoffs for the first time since 2008.
Hey, get me in touch with a real estate agent. Find me something down there. I got a young pup coming up along the way. All right, my son was the defensive player of the year in our district. But then I got my little guy. My little guy is following suit in the same way.
He was defensive player of the year.
He was defensive player of the year for us. He's a tri-sport athlete: football, basketball, baseball. Okay. So hey, listen, he's 11 and like 5'10". He's gonna be enormous. So listen, I know you got some offensive prowess, but let's do this the right way. My phone number been the same for a long time. You know what I mean? Hit me up.
KD, 27 Ambassador Drive.
That's it.
On Jackie's address. You've been there.
I know, but I've been there.
Yeah. Jackie will have no problem. Living in Farmington, living it up. All right. All right. I learned last time. I'm gonna have to let my co-host Jeremiah Davis go last, because he be spitting fire, and it's hard to follow him when you give him your last take. But my last take is gonna be this: a lot, and rightfully so. At this point, a lot of teams are thinking about winning state championships, and that is clearly the goal. I remember talking to Coach Porter 4 years ago, and he said he has his schedule built all the way out 16 weeks with the bye. He has a schedule because he's planning to play in that state championship game. But I'll say this: don't go out this weekend and be worried about the state championship. Just get this win. There is no shame. In fact, would be a great sense of pride to be a regional champion. You get a banner for that. And so go out here. Don't think about the semis. Don't think about state. I know it's a goal. Yeah. But you are playing for something. You are practicing on Thanksgiving. You win this game, you are a champion. You are a regional champion. And as we have discussed, if you are coming from some of these regions, that regional championship is like a state championship. So be proud, and I'm saying that to everybody. Loudoun County, I'm talking Highland Springs, I'm talking, Green Run, whoever you are, Phoebus. I know Phoebus has Golden State Championship, but if they don't, like, I know the Golden State Championships, but if you win that regional title, that's something to be proud of, So that's my last word is go out there, work, because you are playing for a championship this weekend too. Coach Davis.
I want to take a little detour a little bit and talk about the coaches that are dedicating themselves to these young men. And like Coach Porter, the guys who just finished, you know what I mean? And I've been there. You're in a time of, where do I go? You've dedicated yourself. A coach is a passionate, dedicated individual who unlocks hidden potential and maximizes a team's performance by believing, encouraging, and developing. That's what a coach is. And we've encountered so many coaches, not just in sports, but teachers or coaches in our churches. Somebody who believed in us, so in turn that we can believe in others. The other part of that is the wives and significant others who support those coaches.
Absolutely.
That allow them to go out there and pour into young men and young women on a daily basis. My wife's not getting the fullness of having her husband in the household, and it's been this way for 20 years. But, she's the backbone of this. She believes in this. She's not looking up at that last play because she's praying for me and for us and for her child that's on the field so we can make a play just so she can have a good Thanksgiving meal, you know what I mean? And somebody that's not with the eye on something. And so I just want to shout out to those coaches, to those coaching families, and to all of those players and families who've made football decisions to be a football player. Those are football decisions. Those times you gave up to go out to that party, to be at practice, to be present at practice, to show up to school on game days on time so you were able to play, to keep your grades in good standing, to have your attitude right, to put on, to get up after somebody has knocked you down and to continue. Yep. So I spoke on this actually at my chapter meeting earlier today, is that football is one of the last militaristic things that we have in the public school system. And I'm not getting political at all with this, but it's the only thing that we ask somebody as a front line to go out and self-sacrifice, and they don't get to score. They do not intend for offensive linemen to score, but they are protectors and they're providers. And so we're the last line of people where because coach said, that's why I got to do this. You spend a tremendous amount of time in preparation for 10 guaranteed games a season. It doesn't happen like that in basketball. It doesn't happen like that in baseball. This is one of our last opportunities to ask young men and young women to do something that they don't want you to do. It is not natural to run your body into another person. It is not natural. Some crazy people think it's okay, but it's not natural for you to do that. We go out there and not only celebrate the athletes that do it, but encourage it. So I just say from that, be thankful for your coach. Be thankful for your family. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach Davis.
Man.
I want to thank my panel, man. Y'all have blessed me. I know you've blessed our viewers, and this has been a lot of fun. So out for Coach Abrams, Coach Davis, Coach Porter, the head coach of the greatest program in the state of Virginia, Bethel High School Bruins, and Jay Golson, who actually, y'all, I know you don't believe it, but he actually strapped it up, put his hand in the dirt, played a little football back in the day, and even coached. I just want to say thank you all. Yeah, have a safe and blessed Thanksgiving. Again, who cares about your first take when you can have the last word?
That last word we don't play. DMV heat coming straight your way. No visit to the 757. We ride. Rusty Byrd got the bullpen live.